So I will recommend some good pieces of music and habits that you should have if you are beginning in orchestration, if you are beginning in composing virtual mockups of orchestral music, or if you are doing this alpha task of mixing orchestral music, because that's possible the worst that you can do. And I finished a project now, and God, it sucks. For me, it's relative easy to compose. What is not so easy is to get satisfied with orchestral mixing. But that's why I do a video now to entertain myself, because I have fun doing this. So I will give some important tips. And why should you hear me? I don't know. You go to my channel, you see if you like my music, and you test by yourself. And I get invited to compose music for other people, and a lot of people like my music. So maybe you should hear me if you are lost, frustrated, and suicidal, or frustrated by, I don't know, some musical exam that you didn't pass, because otherwise you would be busy with the university. You would not be busy watching such a video. if, if if everything is going so fine with the normal education system for music. But so this is for you. The first thing, uh, focus on the basic orchestral sound. That's the first thing. So it's very easy to get distracted by the sound that we want to achieve. For example, Ravel, Messiaen, um, Wagner. So the great orchestral sound. I don't know, John Williams. Um, you should of course you I will not say that you don't hear the stuff, but the exercise here is to have the standard to always come back to the basic. And when you are in the process of creation or mix or whatever, then this is important. So why I'm this is why I'm giving these tips. And if you come from another background, like less classical, etc., this is perfect for you, because I will give straight away the good repertoire to have a perfect, or more or less perfect, reference for what is the basic orchestral sound. So the first thing that is nice to recommend is the water music by Handel, or everything that is related to this very basic Baroque orchestral sound. Okay, so things like this. Let me see if it will sound here. So this very basic pompous orchestral sound, and basically the overtures in every orchestral suite. You have things like this, and this sound you should learn very well. Okay, there's a lot to learn here regarding articulation, which how the trumpets relate to the violins. Okay, which is the function of the oboe. You don't have clarinets here, so you learn the very basics about this set of instruments. Of course, you can try with the Bach, with the orchestral suites, but Handel is more basic, or Telemann. Or if you want a composer that's not famous, but for this practice is maybe even better, I would say Lully, Jean-Baptiste Lully, the French Baroque composer. Let's say such dance by Lully. Okay, let me search here. Gavotte by Lully. Of course, you can hear everything, but I'm here talking about what you can stop and study. Also, if you don't have so much time, what is your go-to repertoire? Okay, things like this. But the Bach is not bad. It's a classic Johann Sebastian Bach, the orchestra suites that he composed will be also a very good suggestion if you are searching for a classic. I am having delay here. Let me see. I hope it is recording well. Okay, this is for the Baroque thing, but a very good suggestion still is the repertoire composed under the name Sturm und Drang style. So this transition from Baroque to classic, and then good examples of this. Or things like Johann Kirchenbach. I have here, for example, a symphony in G minor. So this is perfect to have a consistent orchestral sound in your ear. But the advantage here is that they start to compose more things with more action. So if you're doing like a very conservative action music or so-called epic music, this is a very good reference. Okay, so let's hear. Okay, things like this. Okay, Sturm und Drang is the heavy metal and classical music. Okay, Baroque is the hard rock. So hear this a lot, and it's very good to have this feeling that you understand the basics of how an orchestra sounds. Okay, because all the symphonies, they are very homogeneous. They're very based on tutti sound. They are always sounding together. Okay, and with not so much polyphony. So it's a very good reference. Okay, to check if you have the basics. This is Johann Kirchenbach, but if you want a classical, a composer that is more famous, still in this style. So you have the Haydn with the Farewell Symphony. That's basically a symphony, also in this style. It's the symphony number 45. Okay, so Sturm und Drang. It's an awesome first movement. The symphony is kind of strange because later he changed the style. I don't like it so much, but this has a very important historical influence. The symphony, because of this, because that's I don't know. I would risk here to say that this is the symphony that makes the transition to the classical style. And what is the classical style? The classical style is it's a symphonic sound where you have more contrast between dynamics. Okay, where you have a richer way of considering form and principally contrast. Contrast is very important. Okay, contrast of ideas and contrast of emotions. Okay. So to learn this sound, you don't have to go to Beethoven or Mozart. I would say you can still study the London Symphony if you want something very famous by Joseph Haydn, or Surprise. No, London Symphony. Okay, because there is a lot of recordings, etc. The late symphonies of Haydn. Okay. If you want something less famous, but still good to get a good impression of in your ears, I would try the Boccherini, the Italian composer. The symphonies of him, they are very pleasant to hear. Of course, you can hear everything, but if you don't have time, you want to stick to just one thing. Something like the London Symphony, it's a good example. You can hear a minuet or something like this, and but the idea here is to get used in your ear. Okay, so something that you can hear a lot. So maybe if you like the creation by Haydn, that's a very large work. uh, Maybe this is a very good suggestion for you can repeat a lot of times and to get used to what is the basic classic sound. Okay, but the creation has the advantage of more rich combinations because you have voice, you have everything. But here you have your your go-to situation to check the basics of a large work. Okay, so if you are beginner but in orchestration or film composition, but you have this, you have really to express richer sounds in a classic conservative way. This is the this is the work to study and to hear a lot. Okay, because you have a work of large proportions but still in with a very basic sounds, basic harmonies, basic combination of orchestral elements. Okay, but this is already somehow complex. Okay, the basic level is what is, I said. The most basic is the Handel and the other Sturm-und-Drang symphonies that I said. If you are if principally if you're going to things like composing for games like action games or this epic stuff, I don't like the word epic because it is a kind of subculture already, and epic is a very important genre in art in general. Okay, in fine art and in important great artworks. Okay, so I'm careful with this, but if you are in this epic trend or things like this, so focus on this song. Um, but then now we jump in the history to something more. Um, so so now regarding romantic music, and here's the heart of my suggestions, because if you don't have any time whatsoever and you but you still want to do things with orchestral music, mock-up mixing or whatever, and you want to or if you want to check if you have a solid impression of how an orchestra sounds like, because as I said, when you are mixing or composing orchestral music, even complicated stuff, you have to come back to the basic, and I do myself this. So in this case, if you want just one advice here for the whole video, so this is the advice. I don't care if you like waltz or if you can dance, and I don't care how complex this music is, but this is a very good synthesis of orchestral sound in a way that is maybe more approachable to us and to many people, and it's just if you have this orchestral sound, you are already in, to understand, you are in the society. Okay, so people love you. Okay, Johann Strauss. So okay, so you have 2 hours of this just on YouTube. So this is perfect because you hear a lot of times the same sound because he composed the same in every valse. So, but he's rich with this. He tries to bring something. That's why he's Johann Strauss. But but this is perfect to have a reference of sound, okay, and of orchestration, because you have everything in the basic, and you have always a situation where you can relate the basic to the interesting, the basic to the ornament, or the basic to something more inspired. So you have this kind of musical microcosm, okay, and this is a very interesting reference to have for mixing, for mock-up, or even for composition. Okay, if you have to compose something in a somehow saturated style that is not saturated in other parts of our society. So this is also an interesting source of inspiration. This is the things to focus on. So if you don't have so much time to read the scores, if you can't read the score, or if you come from other background, this is the sound that you can always have as a reference, according to check if the proportions between instruments they are okay, the flute, etc. Because it's so easy to get lost with this, with where is the flute, where is the trumpet. Principally, if you are working in a work that goes in the direction of Beethoven or Bartok or Hindemith or Stravinsky, so it's very easy to get lost of what is the role of each instrument. Okay, because there with Stravinsky there is not the role of each instrument. So with the opening of the Sacré, the Printemps, you have already the fagot, very crazy. So it's always important to know in music where is the basic, where does the thing comes from, which was the first function of the oboe. What does a clarinet mean historically and aesthetically? So from this you begin to attach new meanings to these instruments and new ways of using this. Okay, but if you go already to Ravel or Stravinsky or very fancy orchestration, or I don't know, John Williams, etc., maybe you get lost. Okay, this is very important to hear, because this is inspiration for you musically. But here I am giving a suggestion from the technical point of view. Okay, to get the things technically right, and to help you with the revision of orchestral music, of if you are writing arrangement, or if you are doing a MIDI version, or if you are mixing, things like this. Okay, then there is a special recommendation now, because we focus too much on instruments that are not percussion instruments. So to have a good idea of percussion instruments, you should hear a concerto for percussion in orchestra. So here, that's not a kind of basic composition, it's a very fantastic, rich composition, but here this is a good way to get used to all the possibilities that you have with percussion. In these possibilities you can use already in basic composition. Okay, you can use these new sounds in for percussion in compositions that are kind of basic orchestral compositions. So this will bring more richness to your orchestral composition, because percussion has a very recent history. Okay, in the history of composition, of classical composition principally. Of course, we have thousands of years of music for percussion, but the written tradition is very recent, and the very Western way of compose for percussion is something that you can say is still developing from the point of view of concert music, classical concert music. So the ultimate concerto for percussion, in my opinion, is the Scherrer, Friedrich Scherrer Schlagzeug concert. Friedrich Scherrer, he finished the incomplete opera of Albenberg called Lulu. Okay, Albenberg is an Austrian composer, and Friedrich Scherrer also. Okay, and he taught, by the way, one of my teachers in composition. Okay, the Christian Offenbauer. So it was hard to not get some connection with his work. And at the beginning, I I didn't like so many things, but later I recognize him as actually a great composer. I would not say the greatest, but now from the composers that I know that are living, I would certainly point him as one of the first composers that come in my head. Also together with Wolfgang uh, Rihm. The difference that Wolfgang Rihm, that is a German composer, he's a composer that composes whatever. That's my impression, and so he has always some good works, and works that you ask, okay, what is this? But so this is the recommendation. So Friedrich Scherrer, concerto for percussion and orchestra. Okay, you have here a wonderful video on YouTube by Martin Grubinger, a solist. And I hope with these informations you can find everything. But this is a wonderful concerto to hear many times. Okay, for inspiration or for reference, as I'm saying now, for song reference, to learn what you can do with percussion, and it's just very good. Okay. Okay, it's just awesome. This video you have to see because it's spectacular. Okay, so Martin Grubinger with the HR Symphony Orchestra, Frankfurt Radio Symphony. Okay, you have to check this. So here I would stop the basic list. So let's say you don't have so much time, then sometimes you feel like okay, how is actually this, how should this sound like, or for example, you hear what you are composing and you are kind of, is this good or not? So go to the Strauss, okay, and hear this. Go to the waltz back, and then you begin to see, okay, the cymbal is here, the trumpet is here, the piccolo is here, the violins are here, so you have a good orientation. Okay, and if you are composing another type of music that is more smaller, then go to the Handel water music. Then you know, okay, the cello sounds like this, basses and oboe and violin. So you begin to have this hierarchy of how loud is each instrument, and when they comes behind and when they comes to the front, because this is so confusing. This is very confusing. It's very easy to get lost in this if you are composing music with huge dynamics, and then you begin to get lost also with the equalization of the instruments. It's very easy. The thing with mixing of orchestral music is that a guitar, if you take if you do some weird equalization of the guitar, someone may think, okay, that's a nice effect. But with the violins, if you change a little bit the equalization, like you are mixing or composing the whole day and you change a little bit, and you are kind of lost in the reference, so later someone can hear this and will notice that this is weird, because a violin sounds more or less always like the same. So they will not say, that's an effect. Do you understand? Okay, so more about orchestral mixing you have on the channel of the I always forget his name because it's a kind of Hungary name, the Dole. Okay, but this you'll find on YouTube. If you put orchestral mixing on YouTube, you'll find his channel. It's a very good channel, not exactly for the music that I do, but it's the only channel regarding issues with orchestral mixing that I know, and that is maybe the only channel that is systematic about this, and also that's in a serious way, because the guy is very dedicated to this. But it's more in the it's it's more about a very precise style of epic video game music, and music for media and things like this. It's not exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about classical music in general when you are mixing this or when you are doing a mock-up, and this this includes the possibility of doing music for video games or film music. That's my approach. So I think you have everything, and it was a pleasure to give these ideas, uh, because this is the conclusion after the last project that I did that was stressful. Okay, so thanks very much, and see you soon. Ciao.